Hello, everyone, and thank you once again for joining me, Jan Harp, on whichever social media platform you are watching this. And today, I'd love to introduce you to Miss Cherie of Cherie Lashes and Brows.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, it is definitely my pleasure. And once again, I want everyone to understand that Cherie Lashes and Brows is just the beginning. She's going to tell you, she's going to go in depth on all of the things that she is involved in. And I would like for you to know that she has been doing this since she was 16 years old. Yes, and the baby face is not fooling you. She is baby in the heart and in the face. There you go. Yes. So we are of them, and this is a spotlight. So we thank you for taking a moment to hear from each of them and then support. Go and support these wonderful Black businesses, because at the end of the day, we don't need to spend our time looking into Martin Luther King another year, looking into George Washington Carver another year. Nothing wrong with the public schools learning that. But as for us, we need to celebrate our local homegrown heroes, those who are our current Black history moments. They are creating it right in front of us. And so let's celebrate them and give them their flowers while we are all still here. We want to just share with the world exactly how fabulous you are. So please tell everyone a little bit about what you are involved in and how you're involved in.
I'm in the beauty industry. I always start off like that because I've done just about everything there is to do in beauty. And I'm doing whatever's current, whatever's relevant. So I'm going to be in beauty forever. Currently, I specialize in lashes and brows, permanent makeup. But I also offer skincare, body contouring, hair, makeup, styling, everything, waxing. I've done it all.
Really, like, where did that love come from? Because, I mean, someone could try to teach me, and like you say, you got a class, you're going to try to show me with my two left hands, but I don't know how people could, how did that develop? How did that love develop? Because I'm just like out the door.
It started with, my first exposure was when I was about 16, and I became a salon assistant. So I just liked the salon environment. It just didn't seem like work. It was just fun. It was talking, eating, gossiping, drama, running out to the store. It was just nonstop excitement. That awakened my passion for the environment. But a part of it just came naturally because I always enjoyed making people feel good. I always say it's a talent to make someone look good, but it's a gift to make people feel good. So in all of my career, whether it was beauty or retail or mentoring young women, I was always in the business of making people feel good.
So originally, like before the salon, what were you thinking about? Like, what was the goal for when I grow up?
When I was young and I thought about what I wanted to be when I grew up, I didn't know. I didn't have a direction. I wanted to be a little bit of everything. I wanted to be initially a psychologist. I wanted to get my doctorates and do psychology and do counseling. I wanted to be the founder of a plus size clothing line / fashion designer. At one point, I even wanted to be an exotic dancer. I was like, oh, they pretty. All the boys like them. They make a lot of money. I want to do that. So I had no direction. Eventually, it just progressed as I grew. And I was met with, I learned my purpose.
It's so relevant today because young people, that's something that I'm sure that you've even heard like numerous times, is that the young people don't really have direction. It's like everybody's in their phone. No one knows what direction they're going in. Mm-hmm. They just know they want to scroll on that phone. And it's just sometimes even like as a parent, sometimes it's hard to like really, hone in on what your child is interested in nowadays because they're just interested in the phone. So, it's just sometimes, not seeing them have that direction can almost be discouraging. But then to hear a young person like yourself say that, no, I didn't have direction, but I was able to figure it out. I found my way. It gives us grow, the married with children folks, it gives us a lot of hope because, that's something that we kind of struggle with. Sometimes we're looking at this new generation as, how are they going to come back from the phone, and have
and be present.
Exactly. To go from wanting to be a psychologist to saying, okay, I'm really into beauty. I really want to make people feel good. Let me, go in this direction. How did you bridge that and overcome the hurdles I'm sure there were hurdles that were involved with that transition?
You have to accept the bad with the good. Everything has obstacles, hurdles, and challenges. So I would say the first hurdle I had to overcome was myself. I didn't want to commit, and it's hard because one thing I did learn about myself is that I'm pretty much good at everything. Anything you put in front of me, I can master it. So it was hard to lock myself down into one thing, just focus on that, because I just knew there was more. It's something else coming. Oh, and all it took was that small moment of boredom for me to be like, okay, I'm done with this for now. I'm going to go and see what the next wave is. And then, I may revisit it, I may not. But that was the main hurdle that I had to overcome, was myself. I had to be confident in myself, which is a hurdle, because if confidence is half the battle, you would be surprised at what people can accomplish with confidence alone. And you got to walk like you have it. Other hurdles, I would say predators. Being in the business for so long, dealing with people who are a lot older than I am and who's been in the game much longer than me. They see your gift, they see what you have to offer, and they want to exploit you. They want to put you into their dream. They want to deter you from what you have going on to see how it could benefit them and how it could fit into their vision. And most people they want you to grow as long as you don't outgrow them. Just trial and error. Nothing happened without failure, especially because in my family, I'm like a first generation business owner, so I didn't really have that immediate guidance, that immediate mentorship. I was pretty much making doors where there were only walls and not being afraid to get up and try it again. Those are the hurdles I had to overcome.
Right. And so we are trying our best to, give people an example of, just every day getting it done. And so in your growing up, right? Because we talking about like North New Jersey, Irvington, New Jersey, and some people may have heard of it, some people may not have. But growing up where you grew up, like you were just saying, it's not like there's a bunch of role models just waiting around to come show you how to get started in business. So like, what were some of the other things that you could have gotten involved in? And like, why did you choose the route of entrepreneurship?
What are some of the...
Because now, just a pin in the hat, I'm from Newark. And growing up in Newark, it's an experience. Like when my husband and I were dating, and he would come to the neighborhood, he would just be like, they look like The Walking Dead. That's what he would say. He was like, this looks like The Walking Dead around here. And it wasn't the kind of place where, you sat on your porch in order to get peace, or, just like have, this sunny afternoon that you see on TV somewhere. No, you sit on your porch and it's a whole TV show. Like somebody just stole something. They doing donuts on the corner in a stolen car. Like that's where it came from. So, just like, I want people to really understand that, no, like, yeah, she's pretty. Yeah, she, probably has some doors open because she's just so cute. No, like, I want them to understand, like, really, where did you come from? And how did you make it into a world, a realm that you really didn't have any examples except for maybe some encouragement from some outside folks?
That's exactly what it is. Just when you're born without a fighting chance and you fighting just to get to ground zero, you have to find that motivation from within. You have to find that internal motivation. And for me, my internal motivation was that if I don't get this right, I don't have anything else. So it had to be done. I'm not going to be out in the street. I'm not going to, as much as I admired the idea of the exotic dancer lifestyle, that's not something that was really for me. Believe me, I tried it. It was not for me. They got one day out of my life. That's it. And I knew immediately. But that internal motivation, it was just like sink or swim. You can't float. And bills is motivation enough. Bills are motivation. When you get those bills in the mail, they will motivate you. And you understand that you have to do something. And, you know, some of my external motivations would be just looking around at those who are closest to me, you know, and seeing what I don't want to be like.
Everything is an example, whether it's an example of what to do or what not to do. Mm-hmm. But everything is an example.
Absolutely.
And so do you feel as though being in the church at an early age, do you think that that made a difference in, you know, some of the decision making? Like, what do you think was influential to you? Because that's like something that really stood out to me, is just the way that the atmosphere would shift when you danced. And so it's like, you know, everyone doesn't have that experience. A lot of people grow up, you know, they may think that, like, you know, oh, church is just something, you know, the slave masters taught us, you know, it's you know, whatever. But to me, I feel like God is necessary. You know, I think that church is influential. And I think that especially for a race of people that have limited positive influences, that's one of the things that's always around us. Like you can find 50 million liquor stores and 50 million churches. So as a young person who has, you know, made something happen that was a enormous feat from where we come from, first off, you know, how would you say the church played a part in that and in shaping that?
Definitely. For you? That was necessary. But one, because it kept me from, it stopped my, what is it called? My conscience. It stopped me from going down. It stopped me from being Simba and leaving the Pride Lands and going into that shadowy, dark place over there. It kept me from doing that. You know, I just knew, like, if I do this, I'm going to hell. So I think that was my anchor to keep me from really, like, floating out to sea. And those moments where I just felt like I can't do it. Because those moments come too, like, at my lowest moments, you need that supernatural push. You know what I mean? You need that. You need to, every source has a source. So church and my foundation and God, that was my source to keep me pushing. And even, like, it just felt like at some point I became, how can I say, infinite. Because as much as I would feed people, I never felt empty. You know, and no matter what environment I was in, that same aura and that same energy I had, you know, that grew me from being involved in church and my spirituality is you have to take you with you. So everywhere I went, that's what I was spreading. I'm still spreading God. Even in the godless places, I'm still spreading God, and I'm still, you know, being that light. The way I talk, I mean, I just knew, because everything about me was different everywhere I went. It was a lot of places that I would not fit into. Even though, don't get me wrong, I'm personable, I'm loved everywhere, I'm respected, I'm liked, all of that stuff. But at the same time, people know when you just don't belong there. It doesn't have to be a good or bad thing. It is what it is. This is not the place for you. And God kept me grounded.
I love that. And I'm glad we were able to get that into the conversation, because at the end of the day, there are young people having young people. And the more we lose even just the smallest elements of what make us a community of people, because we already have, you know, so little on our resource platter. So it's like to then now start to lose the influence of the church. Like you say, the influence that gives us conscience, the influence that helps us to make these certain decisions that lead us towards entrepreneurship, that lead us into places of freedom, like true freedom, economic freedom, true freedom. So if we start to lose these things and we allow ourselves to be convinced that these things don't really matter, then we lose out on testimonies like yours, which is that no, like this is what caused me to go this way versus that way. So I think that's so profound. Now, before we run, please let us know all about what it is that you have going on right now with My Cherie Lashes and Brows and what's to come.
So My Cherie Lashes and Brows is focused on eyelash extensions, permanent makeup, microblading, skincare. Along with that, we also offer hair services, body contouring, waxing, and my favorite part of My Cherie Brows, soon to be All Eyes on You. Don't forget the name, All Eyes on You. My favorite part about this industry is working with my sisters, working with my sister businesses. I love collaborations. Right now, I'm working with Tara Renee. She's a loctician based out of Newark, New Jersey. I'm working with Blue Mirage Aesthetics. She is a doctor, Dr. Stevenson, who does Botox fillers, injections. And, another thing that I love, that our common thread is our target audience. Our target audience it's everyone, but it's not necessarily like the glamour girl or the IG model. It's the tired mom. It's the college student. It's the bank teller. It's the single successful engineering black bachelorette. Those are our people. So I love working with my sisters because it grows. It just grows. Also, I'm featuring my Fat Girls Boutique, which I'm wearing today.
Let them see it.
And I got the black tracksuit, high-waisted crop top with the splits in the knees.
People gonna be making this fat girl thing. Look at this one. Oh, she let it show. Ain't the only thing fat is how fat and wonderful that is. Girl.
And don't forget the head turban now. Don't forget the turban.
I love it. It. It's giving everything. It's giving.
It's giving.
You know what? Listen, to everyone watching, if we become purposeful about the things that we are doing, just become purposeful, then we no longer have to depend on anyone. Like, the algorithm is annoying. Them telling us that we, can't have certain classes in schools, it's annoying. But in the bigger picture, if you would just make it purposeful and you go to that person's page on purpose, then the algorithm isn't stopping anything. So, the point of it is that we have to be purposeful in supporting one another. Like those collaborations, that is important. It's vital. And the problem is that we have to really work at forming them, and we have to get to where it's easier. Like we have to get to where supporting each other is something that we're all aiming to do, and not just until I feel like you're a little bit better than me and you don't need my help no more. Get out of here before I help you do way better than me. And that's another question. Like, how do you get past the competition part of it? Before we go into how people can contact you, because I definitely want people to find your boutique and find all of your services. But how do you just stand out without becoming catty, without being filled with, the drama of hate? How do you stay out of that?
That's a good question, because if you're not grounded, it is contagious. That energy can be contagious. How do I stay out of it? It just comes natural. I think it's a personality thing. I don't really, I just don't engage. And honestly, I'm so looped in my own world. You could throw shade at me, I won't even catch it. I won't notice. I didn't notice it. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. So
unbothered.
Yeah, and that's it. That's it. Just unpenetrable. Did I say that right? Correctly?
It got the point across.
That's the best way to do it. Exactly. The moment you make contact, you lose your power. Do not engage.
I'll make sure I put that somewhere on here that for 2023, do not engage.
That's it.
Just do not engage and be purposeful. Go to your favorite places. Go support your favorite creators. Go and support knowledge. Like, even if, make this like your new book list. Put together a list of, YouTube people or social media people who you want your kids to follow, who you want them to know about. Like, I tell my son all the time, different topics, different things that I want him to look up. Sometimes I'll even throw, a little money to it. Like, okay, I need you to go on there and you look up this and tell me what it's about. And he'll remember that. He might not remember every little detail, but he remembers that, oh yeah, my mother told me to go and listen to one of Boyce Watkins' podcast and tell her something about it, and she gonna give me $10 for that.
It is true. You do need to have your selection of people that you follow and who can pour into you. Because you have to feed your mind.
Exactly.
Yeah, you have to know the people, the pioneers of your industry. You have to know those people. I started unofficially at the age of 16. That's that's almost 20 years ago. Not quite 20, but almost. I mean, I started shredding my clothes in high school, shredding and bleaching and just redesigning clothes that were in my closet. Fashion shows in high school, that's where it started. And then one day, it's one big umbrella. They all fall underneath that umbrella. Beauty, wellness, fashion, it's all under the same, so one thing led to another. It went from shredding and bleaching my clothes to on the runway in high school and college to salon assistant, and then before I knew it, I was an independent contractor and I was just moving how I wanted, when I wanted, with who I wanted.
I'm glad you touched on that before we run away. So now, before you tell them exactly how they can find you, tell us a little bit about that independent contractor thing. So for people who do not know, why is it important to become an independent contractor? If you're already a business person, where does that come in at?
I love being an independent contractor because, as I mentioned earlier, it's the commitment factor. You are only committed to yourself. It gives you the opportunity to work with who you want to work with. It gives you an opportunity to work where you want to work. It also gives you an opportunity to work when you want to work, and that's the most important part. Also, it is important to become an independent contractor because it's paperwork. And I always say one of the tools that I always give my mentees: go to school. And what I mean by that is not necessarily college. Go to school means get whatever paperwork that's in your field and in your industry that's going to propel you. Because paperwork gets you paid. You could be as talented as you want, but you have to have credentials. Having that information and having those credentials as an independent contractor, it just puts you on a certain level. It gives you a level of respect. It gives you a level of prestige, professionalism. So that's very important. And it's simple. Not only that, it's simple. It's inexpensive. It's easy. It's easy. Get your EIN or your LLC, register your business, get your insurance, and you can do whatever you want to do. And you should be paid accordingly. Paperwork gets you paid.
And so now, a lot of times in the church, it took for Tyrell to say this during one of his sermons. And for those who don't know, the church we're speaking about is Higher Praise Family Worship Center. You go online, look up Higher Praise Family Worship Center. You will find them in North New Jersey. And so Tyrell was giving his sermon, and he was saying how we're always, talking about your generation as the church babies, because that's what we know y'all as. Y'all the church babies. Mm-hmm. But then you have to remind us that, no, y'all are actually grown now. And you're, the
we up there. We up there.
Yeah. Which means, of course, I'm more up there. And so, in acknowledgement of your adulthood, right? On a serious note, what would you say to encourage those who are going through trials, going through tribulations. They might not have the influences, but they are on that journey. Like they want to follow their passion. What would you say to them?
Okay. I will give 4 tips of advice. 4. The first one is going to be pray. Obviously, keep God first. Pray so you can be guided, and pay your tithes. That's one. Pray and pay your tithes, because let me tell you something. He will show up. He will show up. You show up for him, he's definitely going to show up for you. So that's first and foremost. Pray and pay your tithes. Like I said before, go to school, because paperwork gets you paid. Whatever you do, whatever credentials that are in that field, that's going to put you in front of the person on the side of you, do it. Get those credentials, get your certifications, get your business paperwork in order, go to school. Whatever that means to you, go to school. Be careful of taking advice from people who you would not trade places with. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't discredit. You can be open to opinions, but don't be too receptive. I don't discredit anything because I believe that you can learn something from anyone. You can learn something from a homeless person on the street. Mm-hmm. But just learn to listen, and you have to be able to kind of have a barrier between those outside voices and your own inner voice, because a lot of times people will project their fears and failures on you. Mm. So you don't want to be open to that, because you literally could do whatever you want to do. And finally, I would say stay focused and don't be afraid to commit. Commitment does not mean a life sentence. Yeah. Commitment is until you're done with it. Whatever it is, commit until you master it, and then move forward. You could do everything in life that you want to do. I've done everything I wanted to do in life. And some people, I've overheard conversations with some people like, oh, she all over the place. Oh, she's this, whatever. And I feel satisfied. I'm happy with where I am. I'm happy with my accomplishments. I'm proud of them. I'm secure. And I'm glad I committed in the way that worked for me.
It is so true that, at the end of the day, you have to figure out how to make opportunities for yourself, motivate yourself, keep yourself in mind, so that the stuff that's on outside of you, even if it's just naysayers, you're able to keep pushing. So I think that is like, that's the most vital piece of advice probably for life, period. Yeah. Because whether you're, in elementary school and people are picking, or you're in, high school and grown-ups are saying that you, like you say, all over the place, you don't know what you want to do with your life. Like, you have to be able to still have that internal fortitude that says, at some point, I'm going to put in enough effort towards my solution where these words that people are telling me are going to be a thing of my past. But the key is you got to put in the work. And she has put in the work.
Have to put in that work. Yep. It's work. But it's worth it.
Because at your age, you are able to say, hey, I work when I want, how I want, get my dividends, and play when I want.
Amen.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
One of the greatest beauties in the world is the freedom of your time.
Exactly.
Freedom of your time.
You don't know how important that is until you get it. Like, I think that's what COVID did. It made people realize how important their time was.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So now people want to do something different. And so I'm hoping that when they see and they hear from someone like yourself, see me, I'm older. They might say, oh, well, she's older. She done, been through it. She put in whatever. But no, this is a young woman who has been putting in the work since she was 16. And so now putting in the work. And thank you. And she's still putting it. Doesn't stop. So let her be your example. Let her be your motivation, because we do not need to pull people from history in order for us to say, oh, we had some Black accomplishments. No, she is our Black accomplishment, that she was able to get to where she is in life, to be able to say those wonderful things that, no, I work with who I want to work with. I'm not forced. I work when I want to work. I'm not forced. That's freedom. So thank you so much, my Cherie.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You are most very welcome. If someone wants to reach you, what should they do?
Okay, for styles, you can reach me on Style Seat. That's an app. Download the app Style Seat. It's all eyes on you. You'll see my lovely face up there. You can also find me on Instagram at Fat Girls Boutique. That's Fat, FATT _ girls with a Z _ boutique. And you'll see my lovely face up there as well. Don't forget, peekaboo.
This one here. And that's on Instagram?
Yes, it is.
I love it. Awesome. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. I hope you have enjoyed this spotlight on Black business. And now do not stop here. Yeah. If you're in Irvington, go visit.
Absolutely.
If you're go and find her. It's that simple. Don't wait for the algorithm to show it to you. You go find her yourself.
I'm right here. I'm right here. And one more thing, I want to highlight holistic business coaching, because yes, Jeanette has been mentoring me since I was a tween, and she's still mentoring me to this day, and everything she teaches me that I implement has immediate results. So I'm just going to keep it short. Immediate results.
Thank you. I greatly appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to us doing more.
Oh, definitely. Without question.
Thank you, everyone, and you have a great rest of the evening, and we look forward to continuing to celebrate Black History Month with you all February long.
Bye now.
Come on now.
That's wild.
I'm okay with that.
Doing some dancing and shaking butt. They won't shadow bang the
They're going to do it all day.
You got to put that in the mix. They have got to put a little twerk session in the mix.
People better look for me on purpose.
Okay.
All right.